It's the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome to the Locked On Minnesota Twins podcast. Today is Monday, September 20th, and I'm your gracious host, Nash Walker. Today's episode is brought to you by Locked On MLB. Join walking baseball encyclopedia Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call him Sully. Every day on Locked On MLB for a unique look at the majors, both present and past, featuring exciting guest interviews and routine check-ins from the Locked On MLB Network's team of local experts. Subscribe to Locked On MLB today on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast. Again, this is Nash Walker, writer at Twins Daily, lifelong Twins fan, bringing you 5 days a week coverage on the Minnesota Twins. I've been doing this podcast now for almost 500 episodes. I've watched a lot of Twins games. I've watched this current core kind of grow into what it is now over the last few years, and they're in a very precarious position, are the Twins, going into this offseason. They have 12 games left this year. They got the Cubs at Wrigley this week. They got Toronto again at home. Going to see Jose Barrios again probably. It was really, really weird to see the Twins face Jose Barrios yesterday. And then one more week, and they'll finish up at Kauffman in Kansas City. So the season is winding down. The Twins have played 150 games. They're in last place. They're on pace for 72 wins. But I'm going to give you 5 reasons to watch in these last 2 weeks. If you're just sitting at home and you're not thinking about watching the Twins, maybe one of these reasons will push you to turn on the Twins. And I know a lot of people have just kind of tuned out of watching the team. And if you have, that's fine. If you're on the fence, that's fine. If you're still watching every day like me, that's fine. I'm here to cater to everyone, certainly, when I give you these 5 reasons. Then we're going to go over 5 takeaways from the weekend. I think these are interesting, and I want to do this on Mondays moving forward. I guess there's only 2 Mondays left in the season, but 5 takeaways from the weekend, I think opened my eyes a little bit. Like, these takeaways are interesting on 5 different players and what we've learned about them, and I think what was solidified this weekend in a lot of ways. We're going to talk about that today, but let's go over these 5 reasons. And number 1 for me is always going to be Byron Buxton. Anytime Byron Buxton is healthy and on the field, I don't care if he's hitting a $120 for the Twins, and he hasn't been good. He hasn't been very good at all since coming off the injured list at the plate. Anytime I get to watch him in a Twins uniform and watch him play as a healthy, electric ball player, I'm excited about that, and it gives me a reason to watch because Byron Buxton is among the most exciting players in the game. Byron Buxton is, when on the field, in my mind, an elite player. And he's a guy who we don't get to see a whole lot. Like, you don't get to watch Byron Buxton very often. You never know when is the last time you're going to watch Byron Buxton as a Minnesota Twin either. You know, this could be the last 2 weeks that he spends in this organization. There is a non-zero chance that he is traded this offseason. I think Buxton that's the biggest storyline of the offseason for me. There's so much that's going to happen this offseason. I think so many questions going into this offseason. But the most important, because of the player he is, because of the fan base and their view of him and how much Byron Buxton is loved. I think he's loved by the fan base. People are frustrated, and they make fun of the injuries. They get mad about Byron Buxton. They get mad at Byron Buxton for getting injured. But I think for the most part, he's very loved and embraced, and we've watched him come up as a top prospect, as the best prospect in baseball, and really become a star on the field. And there's nothing like that. And I've said it before, the best part about baseball is the farm systems, because you watch these kids get drafted and they come up and they become, Twins, and they become impact players for the Twins, sometimes even become stars for the Twins. There's nothing like that. And it's really been fun to watch Buxton kind of grow and go through those stretches. Like, when I was a freshman or a sophomore in high school, we had on the whiteboard of my sports broadcast class or my sports journalism, sports literature, whatever it was, Byron Buxton K counter. How many times he was striking out, because he was striking out so much, like just couldn't hit a lick, couldn't lay off the sliders, swinging through fastballs, just didn't have it at the plate. And to see how he's grown and become so good, and again, he hasn't been good since coming off the injured list, but to become as good as he's been the last 3 years combined, and that's only, again, 155, 160 games that we've been able to watch him, it's really been fun to watch. So Byron Buxton's always a reason, not only because of the injury history and you don't know when you're going to see him again, but also because I think there's a chance he's traded this offseason. So I'm going to enjoy every day that he's on the Minnesota Twins, and I hope that he's not moved. And I don't know if he will be. Like, in my opinion, is that the Twins have to decide, and I think they're going to get together at the end of the season, hopefully, and decide what they want to do here. And whatever direction they choose will ultimately dictate the fate of Byron Buxton. Do you want to try to win in 2022? Trading Byron Buxton ain't going to help you do that. I mean, you're not going to get back major league talent that can be more impactful than him when he's on the field than Byron Buxton in a trade this offseason. So Buxton's always going to be my number one just because you don't know. You got to appreciate the time that he spends on the field because you never know. Number 2 is Joe Ryan. He's going to start Wednesday against the Cubs at Wrigley Field. That'll be fun. Twins, I think they did this on purpose, and I said this about Joe Ryan before, but 2 starts against Cleveland, 2 starts against the Cubs. I don't know if there's 2 worse lineups, honestly, in baseball right now that have less depth than the Cubs and Cleveland. I think those 2 lineups are not very good outside of a few hitters, and I think it gives Joe Ryan a chance to get comfortable, and that's all he's looked so far is comfortable. Injury scare, but he's going to make his start on schedule, and it's exciting. He's a reason to watch because he's been so dominant when he pitches thus far, and he's, I'd say the most exciting thing about the Twins in the last month has been Joe Ryan. So as he continues to make starts, he's fun to watch. He's fun to watch kind of just go to work. And I'm really interested to see how he finishes out and finishes out against teams that he's already seen. How are they going to adjust to the fastball? It worked against Cleveland the second time. How will it work against the Cubs? And then maybe he'll see Toronto. Actually, probably he won't see Toronto, but Detroit potentially next week, and we'll get a different look at him against an AL Central foe there in Detroit perhaps, or even in Kansas City. So we'll see what happens with Ryan, but he's a second reason to watch for sure. Let's go over the next 3, and then we have 5 takeaways at the end of the show. Don't go anywhere. Does this sound familiar? You've got one device that lets you catch the game live, another that lets you stream your favorite shows, you're watching sports highlights on your phone, and you've got your neighbor's best friend's login for the good stuff. Well, I want to tell you about a simple way to get all that entertainment you love without the hassle, and a great way to finally get your TV together. It's called DirecTV Stream, and it brings your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, so you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. That means no more juggling remotes and no need to buy another device ever again. And the best part, there's no annual contract. So get rid of that clutter and the confusion and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package. That's directtv.com. Hey Twins fans, this is Nash Walker with an incredible app everyone who buys gas needs to know about. Get Upside. My listeners are making up to 25 cents for every gallon of gas every time they fill up. Just download the free Get Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now. Use promo code BASEBALL and get a bonus 25 cents per gallon on your first fill up. That's up to 50 cents cash back. Don't pay full price at the pump anymore. Get cash back using Get Upside. Just download the app for free and use the promo code BASEBALL to get up to 50 cents per gallon cash back on your first tank. Some people who drive a lot are making as much as $200 to $300 a month in cash back. And there's no catch. The cash back gets added right to your account. You can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download for free Get Upside app and use promo code BASEBALL to get up to 50 cents per gallon cash back on your first tank. That's code BASEBALL at Get Upside. Bailey Ober is a reason to watch. I'm thinking about, and follow me on Twitter at NashWalker9. Please follow the show at Locked On Twins. I'm thinking about my offseason awards for the Twins, and I think right now, and it will depend on his next couple of starts, and he's part of the 5 takeaways as well that we'll talk about later in the show. I think he's going to be my Twins pitcher of the year because you think about the rotation. I mean, the only guy it could be in the rotation this year is Jose Barrios, and he's not on the team. There's something just like sacrilegious about picking a guy who's not even on the team anymore. So I'm not taking Barrios. And you think about the rotation, it's not Maeda. Pineda's just, nope, it's not going to be him either. I think it's going to be Ober. And then you think, okay, maybe someone in the bullpen, right? Caleb Thielbar, who's kind of pitched very well down the stretch for the Twins, but still, middling numbers. Tyler Duffy, I think, has been very disappointing on the whole. He got off to a really bad start. Has had stretches where he's been good, but I don't think he's had a Twins pitcher of the year type of season as a reliever. If you're going to be the Twins pitcher of the year as a reliever, or any team's pitcher of the year, you got to be dominant. And I think Taylor Rogers was the Twins daily pitcher of the year in 2019 because the whole bullpen revolved around him in the first half. Before the Twins went and got Sergio Romo, that helped a ton. Before Tyler Duffy's breakout, before Trevor May kind of turned it on in the second half, it was all about Taylor Rogers and relying on him to get multiple inning saves, to get out of jams. It was Taylor Rogers. And so I think he was the pick in 2019, but that's the type of season you have to have as a reliever. And there haven't been any super exciting performances from the starters to be stringent about what a reliever line looks like. But I really haven't been blown away by anyone in the bullpen enough to give them that award for a 50 or 60 game inning sample. And Ober is even going to end up with more than that, although he came up later in the year. I think Bailey Ober is going to be my pitcher of the year because he mixes in time. He was up for a decent amount of time and excitement. And maybe not as exciting as Joe Ryan has been, but exciting enough to believe that he can be a part of the future. Exciting enough to believe that his fastball is going to get outs at the big league level at 91, 92 when he was 88, 89 before. I think he's mixed those two things very, very well. And Bailey Ober's a reason to watch down the stretch. And he's fun to watch. I mean, I think he's learning and he's adapting. And it's fun to watch these guys kind of go through that adaptation process. Number 4 is a left-handed reliever who was just called up by the Twins, Giovanni Moran. It's been a really tough start for him. He's also in the takeaway, so we'll talk more about his start. But Moran's a guy... Video game numbers in the minors, yes, with the batting lines against. He's got a great changeup. Fastball got up to 95 in his first couple outings here with the Twins. And I think a key part of the future in the bullpen is Giovanni Moran. And I'm excited to see how he finishes this season. A couple scoreless outings would go a long way, I think, for solidifying him into the 2022 bullpen and beyond. Number 5 is Miguel Sano. And I sent out a tweet knowing that I'm going to get backlash every time I send out a Miguel Sano stat tweet. Usually I don't put my opinion on it. You'll hear more of my opinion in this podcast or in my writing, but I just send out a stat. Miguel Sano over his last 265 plate appearances has been very, very good for the Twins. He's been, among first basemen even, he's been top 5, top 7, I think, in terms of OPS, weighted runs created plus, and just production at the plate. He's been very good, and he's a reason to watch because Miguel Sano's future, and we broke down all these questions a few weeks back. You can go find that episode. I think it's like exploring the key questions for Miguel Sano's future is the title. His future is very important, not just for himself, but it's very important for the Twins. I mean, where they view him in their plans is important because that impacts everyone else. That impacts Alex Kirilloff. That impacts Jose Miranda. That impacts everyone. I think whether Miguel Sano is your DH or your first baseman is impactful on a lot of levels. So how does he finish? Does he continue to hit the ball well? It matters, and it has mattered now for a month. And thus far, the returns have been pretty good. I think he's put on a show in some ways, showing out, knowing that he's probably playing for a lot of things, playing for a starting spot next year, but also playing to not get traded, I think, this offseason. And his trade value is important, too. Like, if you're on the train of wanting to trade Miguel Sano, I don't blame you. I could see why you'd feel that way. You still want him to do well because his trade value will go up. If you want him traded, if you want the Twins to get rid of Miguel Sano, you cheer for him in these last couple weeks and hope he does well. And if you want Miguel Sano to be a part of the team next year, cheer for him. You hope he does well. And both ways, both things can be true for both groups that feel that way about Miguel Sano. I think there's a group that's in the middle about Sano. I think they like him when he's hitting. They don't when he's not. I can understand that. But certainly over his last 250 plus plate appearances, it's impossible to deny that he's been a good hitter. I think it's 15 homers, 16 doubles. He's probably going to have 30 homers. He's at 29 right now with 12 games left. He's going to get to 30 homers for the second straight full season, and he's been on a good run here. So he's one to watch. Byron Buxton, Joe Ryan, Bailey Ober, Giovanni Moran, Miguel Sano. I'm sorry to Jorge Polanco. I didn't leave him here because he's just kind of an implied reason to watch. He's the Twins MVP this year, and he's given us so much that I almost feel bad putting him on the list of not guys who need to prove something, but reasons to watch because he's kept me involved for sure. I think some nights Jorge Polanco, he's kept the Twins involved too and has had some huge hits all year. he's a reason to watch. He's implied. Jorge Polanco has been awesome, and I will tell you right now, he's my Twins MVP. So when we do the offseason awards, don't be surprised by that. We have a lot, like Rookie of the Year we'll have Comeback Player of the Year. I think I'll do like a Most Disappointing as well. And I'm already thinking as I'm saying that, so that'll be fun. Follow me on Twitter at NashWalker9, and then we'll have a podcast episode for sure going through the awards. Let's talk about the 5 takeaways I had from this weekend, from this series loss in Toronto. Let's go over those after the break. Built Bar is the best tasting protein bar ever. These bars are covered in 100% chocolate, and they're soft and easy to chew. Built Bar has 12 original flavors, but they've added 6 new flavors as well, and these improved Built Bars are even deliciouser. Plus, Built Bars are healthy. Built Bar is great for the health-conscious guy. You can lose or maintain weight while indulging in a delicious treat. The bars are low-calorie, low-sugar, full of protein, full of fiber, and great for a keto diet. And the peanut butter bar, only 5 grams of net carbs for a type 1 diabetic like me. That is huge. Plus, right now, Built Bar has reset the promo code for this relaunch, so listen closely. You get a free cooler with your purchase while supplies last. If you go to BuiltBar.com and use promo code LOCKED15, you also get 15% off your next order. Use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at BuiltBar.com. My favorite flavors include the coconut almond, the peanut butter, the banana bread. Use promo code LOCKED15 at BuiltBar.com.
David Harrison here, the Locked On Washington Football Team podcast, celebrating with you a 21 grain salute to a less boring sandwich thanks to Dave's Killer Bread. I don't know about you guys, but when I eat pizza, I eat it for the toppings, not the crust. And when I eat a sandwich, it's for what's inside the bread, not for the bread. But when I throw a sandwich on 21 whole grains and seeds, thin sliced bread from Dave's Killer Bread, it is the epitome of addition by subtraction. That thin sliced bread lets me focus on what's inside the sandwich, but also adds to the sandwich with killer taste, killer texture, killer nutrition, a subtle sweetness, and a seed-coated crust. Dave's Killer Bread is America's #1 organic bread for a reason. It tastes so stinking good. Dave's Killer Bread is made with the highest quality organic and non-GMO ingredients and is power-packed with whole grains, fiber, and protein. Visit daveskillerbread.com to learn more and look for Dave's Killer Bread in the bread aisle of your local grocery store.
Number 1, Josh Donaldson is still good. Josh Donaldson returns to Toronto, hits home runs in back-to-back days, both to the opposite field. Josh Donaldson is 3rd among American League third basemen this year in OPS plus. We know 100 is league average. Donaldson is at 125, behind Rafael Devers at 131, and Jose Ramirez at 144 among third basemen in the American League who played at least 85 games at third. And he's been DHing a lot, but he's been playing third too. Played third this weekend. So he qualifies there as, one of the best hitting third basemen this year in the American League. And you look at the league overall, he's right there with Justin Turner in LA in terms of OPS plus and OPS. He's been really efficient at the plate, and there were times where he wasn't hitting with runners in scoring position, where he wasn't getting those big hits. But you look at the overall line, Josh Donaldson's still a very good hitter. The power's still there. And I think that matters too for the offseason. Again, in a way like Sano, if you want Donaldson traded, it matters that he does well so he can be traded. If you want him to stay on the team, it matters that he does well so he can help the team next year. Number 2, Bailey Ober may have a home run problem, and this is something to watch with him and Joe Ryan. Ober has allowed 19 homers in 19 starts. Marcus Semien got him this weekend, number 40 for Semien. Bailey Ober might have a homer problem, and the reason for that is as he gets through a start and as he gets through a season, hitters are going to pick up on his fastball, and that's something to monitor. Certainly, hitters are going to pick up on his fastball, and they're going to be aware of it, and Semien was right on it at the top of the zone. Like he knew it was coming, and he was on that thing, and he crushed it to left. So Bailey Ober, homer problem, something to watch. Joe Ryan is the same just because they're so fastball reliant and because their fastballs are not 95, 96. So that's the biggest, I think, concern with those two, and that links in hand with the secondary stuff. They need to refine their secondary stuff as well. We've seen Ober do it, but Ryan too, just so you can avoid getting blasted in starts. Giovanni Moran talked about it a little bit. He needs to clean up his command. He's walked 25% of the hitters he's faced since joining the Twins. Needs to clean that up if he wants to be a part of the bullpen next year and beyond. That was a problem in the minors, but you never know when guys get up, like how they're going to look. But 6 walks so far, just needs to clean up the command. It puts you in such a tough spot as a pitcher and as a reliever when you're walking guys. Number 4, I think Michael Pineda can help someone in 2022. He had a good start in Toronto. I thought that was Michael Pineda. He went 5 2/3, got pulled in the 6th. Probably could have finished. Didn't matter. They didn't give up any runs. I can't remember who came in. Jorge Alcala came in and looked good. I think he can help someone in 2022. Whether that's going to be the Twins, I don't know. I think it's nuanced. If you can get Michael Pineda for 1 year, $5.5, $6 million, I think you do it. If he's demanding 1 year, $8 or $9 million, I think you let him go. I think it's that close for next year with the value that he can provide. But I think he can help someone, whether that's in 120 innings, 130 innings, or whatever it might be. I think he can help a team in 2022. He looks like he still has a little bit left in the tank. So Michael Pineda, he'll be interesting. We'll talk about him this offseason and the factors kind of revolving around whether he'll come back. His little brother's in the organization. He's signed with the Twins now twice. Seems like he really likes the Twins. They didn't trade him at the deadline. Seems like they really like him too. So we'll see what happens this offseason with Pineda. But I think he can help someone in 2022. My 5th and final takeaway from the weekend is Luis Arraez is streakier than we thought. I think that's an unfortunate reality. Just not as consistent as I believed him to be. In April and May, he hit .277 with a .358 on-base percentage, slugged .333. In June and July, hit .343 with a .383 on-base percentage and slugged .467. And in August and September, has hit just .248 with an OBP below .320. The problem with Louis is when he's not providing that on-base ability, he's really not providing you with anything because he's not going to run into a homer. He's not, his defense is not plus anywhere. So he's kind of a hole in the lineup when he's not getting on. And when he has a .318 on-base percentage the last 2 months combined and he's slugging .326, that's a hole in your lineup at that point. That's like Andrelton Simmons territory. Even when like sluggers are not getting on in stretches and in periods and in months, they're still running into some homers and maybe hitting some big home runs, but that's just not the case with Luis Arraez. So the fact that he's streakier than we thought matters, and it matters toward his value because it's hard for him to provide you value otherwise when he's not getting on, when he's not roping singles all over the field, when he's not putting together good at-bats consistently, when he's grounding up to second too much. All those things decrease his value when he's not doing them. So Luis Arraez hopefully can get more consistent. I think it's going to be interesting to evaluate his season because he's had really good stretches. He's had stretches where he's in the running for the batting title and has a .370 on-base percentage, and he's had stretches where he hasn't hit a lick. It'll be interesting to evaluate his season. We'll do that this offseason. Every offseason we go over each position and talk about the starters, and I grade each player. I'll give out grades for the season. Luis Arraez's will be interesting to grade. Thanks for listening today. Have a great day. Go Twins. Twins play the Cubs tomorrow. We will have a post game, maybe Prospect Day Wednesday or Thursday, either one, and we will have 5 episodes this week for you, and then next week 5 more, and that'll be the season, which is crazy. Twins winding down, and I look forward to what should be a very fascinating, very fun, and a coverage-filled offseason. Thanks again for listening. Have a great day, and go Twins.